What is going on YouTube and Spotify? This is the Just BSN podcast, and today, episode 61 with my boy Andrew. And as always, we have a lot to talk about, a lot more depressing shit to talk about at this point than fun, but we're actually going to start with the fun. But before we get into all of the topics at hand today, my boy, how are we feeling?
Doing all right, man. Cavs game did go as planned yesterday, but we knew it was going to happen. We knew that a loss was eventually going to come, and I'd rather it be Boston than some scrub team or whatnot. So, but we're doing a-okay right now. We're vibing.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean the only thing that sucks about losing to Boston is hearing these dumbass fans like
I
celebrate
know.
it like it's a championship game, like they didn't get away with a lot of calls last night, like we weren't down four guys and they were down one.
Yeah,
Um, it was goofy, and we still only lost by 3, despite Garland basically having his worst game of the season. Um, but we still showed up and it was still a good game. The Cavs play again tonight and they will be without Garland, who is dealing with a slight groin issue. So maybe that could have been why he sort of
yeah.
had a rough night last night. I think he only had like 6 points.
Well, he
Uh,
suffered that groin injury during the game against Charlotte because he went for a driving layup like early in the game, and he came up hobbling or whatever, limping, and then he played the rest of the game, and he went down a couple times hard, and
yeah.
again
So I
came up
mean,
limping. So that probably had a lot to do with it.
absolutely. And I know the Pelicans have like 9 guys out tonight.
They
Like they
have
have.
their entire roster like starting on 5 out. They have like
It's
half
so
their bench.
yeah.
They're playing the
It's
G
so
League
bad.
guys. They're
Yeah, it's
essentially just
so
playing their
bad.
G League team. He's so bad.
So if you're gonna sit somebody tonight,
Let it be Garland.
and be able to sit Garland, then fine, because this is the night to do it. It's obviously on a back to back, so hopefully
Yeah.
we can use some more guys. I guess the rookie is getting a start tonight in Tyson.
Oh, really?
I think so. From what I was seeing, I haven't
Hmm.
seen the Cavs tweet it out yet, but I might have also missed it because the game starts in like 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Um,
Also, I didn't know if you heard this or not, but
yeah, he is at the 3.
okay. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I don't know if you heard this or not, but I know a couple games ago Donovan Mitchell sat out against Charlotte.
Yeah.
Well, apparently Kenny Atkinson came out and said that he has scheduled games where certain players will sit
Yep.
and rest for that game. Which
Yep.
number one, I actually like because it keeps your players healthy. And number two, it shows that you trust your players
Yeah.
to get the job done. Because again, we were still on our winning streak, and Donovan Mitchell was sitting. Everyone's like, "Oh shit, Donovan Mitchell's sitting." Like,
Yeah.
and obviously we won by like 15, but I think it's a great opportunity. Like, especially like tonight, you can rest. You can finally rest Darius Garland, let him get healthy because after tonight, for the first time this season, you will have more than a day off for rest. The Cavs
Right.
will, I think, have two. The Cavs will have like 2 days off to rest finally, which is very much needed. And I think also contributed to the loss to Boston as well because we were the only team in the league to not have more than a day's rest. We were playing every other night, so I like what Kenny Atkinson had to say about scheduled rest for a lot of these players. Gives guys a chance to just chill, stay healthy. And he said it was either going to happen whether we were 15-0 or 1-15 or 0-15 or whatever. He said no matter the record, these guys are going to sit regardless.
Right.
So I think, again, it's one of those things that I like about Atkinson that JB didn't plan on doing. Because JB still would have had, even if Garland was injured, he probably still would have had Garland playing 40 fucking minutes tonight. And that's just how JB Bickerstaff works.
Yeah. So I mean, it's cool to have a coach that has a plan and like actually acts like he like he knows what he's doing. It's definitely a breath of fresh air considering everything going on in Cleveland sports right now. It is so lovely. But speaking of Cleveland sports, also quick shout out Stephen Vogt for Manager of the Year.
Absolutely.
that I think we both thought that was going to happen, and it's obviously
Yeah.
well deserved. I mean, you took a team that was projected to win like 78 games or something,
74.
yeah, to win 92, and was 1 or 2 games away from legitimately going to a World Series, uh, in a span of 1 year.
Yeah.
Just an incredible job by him. So shout out to Steven. And then I know Clase was third in the Cy Young as well. So even still, as a closer to be top three in Cy Young award winning,
Shows you
as a
just how good he
finalist,
was.
just shows you how good he was despite his sort of flop there at the end of the playoffs. Just that's an incredible season, man. And I'm really excited about the Guardians. But we're not talking about the Guardians. We are talking about the Cavs. But I just wanted to have a quick shout out
Oh,
to that.
absolutely.
Obviously the Cavs were down a few players. As I said, they were down Levert, Okoro, and Dean Wade as well. All of them just dealing with some minor
And Strus.
ankle.
If you want to
Yeah,
include,
well, yeah.
if you want to include him.
And Strus is probably getting close to being back soon. I would
Yeah.
say probably within the next week or two, you're going to hear some sort of things about him getting ramped up. I know he's doing a lot of work, workouts and stuff 101. I haven't really heard him get into any team things yet. So again, you were down a couple key guys. Levert's been a solid player for us, off the bench. Dean Wade has obviously been able to always provide us with sparks, and even Okoro has had probably his best year so far in terms of shooting, just in terms of his presence on the floor has been a lot more efficient this year. So not having those guys against Boston and only losing by 3 points. Listen, I take that. Listen,
Yeah.
it's impossible to go 82-0 in this in this league. So listen, you take your losses. It is what it is. It was a good fight, but they have a chance to bounce back against an absolutely obliterated Pels team. But I do wanted to ask more so just because Garland did seem to struggle. Are you worried that he could fall back into another sort of injury bug and be out for an extended period of time, or do you actually trust Kenny to properly handle it? Because I don't think we had that with JB. I think he almost like Stefanski sometimes mismanages his injuries, and it gets him in worse spots like the Browns are in right now, for instance. For instance. So, what's your feeling like going there? Because obviously he did have a rough game last night.
No, I think Kenny right now is the only coach that I trust in Cleveland, probably besides Stephen Vogt, because Stephen Vogt was the same way too with Guardians players. I fully trust them to do the right thing for injured players. And what I mean by that too is not rush them back. So if Garland doesn't play tonight, Kenny could come out and say, listen, we're going to evaluate Darius in the next couple of days that we have off, and we'll take it by ear, and we'll make that decision on Saturday when we play again. And if I'm still a little unsure, I might sit him again just to give him that extra day's rest that he needs to, again, be fully healthy, get ready to go. And I trust him in making that choice because, like you said, like we see with Stefanski a lot, is these guys get rushed back and then they don't perform well and then they get more injured. And
like
you could
Jed.
take Jed played is like been in and out all season long. And some of these other guys have been in and out all season long for the Browns, but I think I trust Kenny Atkinson more so to handle injuries better, be a little bit more cautious. And again, that's what I liked about Stephen Vogt for the Guardians. He was more cautious with these injuries.
Yeah.
Like you see, it wasn't Matt Boyd, it was Alex Cobb with his finger. Like, okay, yeah, he pitched really well, but we're gonna let him sit for like a week because he grew that blister back, and we don't want that to be a problem for him. And they were very cautious with him, which and they were cautious with a lot of players when they were injured. Like, hey, we're gonna be very cautious with them. We need them on the field more than we need them out.
Yeah.
So I think there's two smart coaches that we have in Cleveland. And don't get me wrong, Kevin Stefanski is a smart dude and a great play caller, but when it comes to injuries, he's not so good at his job when he comes to that regard. But yeah, I trust Kenny Atkinson. Again, if it comes down to it, Garland could miss tonight. Could miss Saturday. Well, he'll miss tonight, but he can also miss Saturday.
Yeah.
And it's just probably precautionary reasons and saying, listen, we don't need a repeat of last year where you were in and out and then you break your jaw and then you're out for like 3 months and then you hate basketball. Because I think he likes what's going on now. And I think he's going to be a little bit more anxious to get back onto the court. And it's going to be tough to tell him, hey, sit down, relax. I know you want to get back out there and help the boys, but we also need you to be 100% and not 50%. And then you end up hurting yourself even further.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, I think Kenny is going to handle it right. He's going to listen to him, and if he's not 100% right, there's no reason to put him out. On the court, especially too. Ty Jerome has played outstanding for us this year.
Absolutely.
He's starting again tonight, and in the last game that he started, he dropped a career tying 25 points. I mean, that's dude. You cannot say enough about him. So he's able to still do his thing, and then once you get LeVert back, then you don't have to worry about keeping Ty Jerome in a lot or keeping Donovan in a lot to handle the ball. So it'll be fine. I'm not really too concerned with that.
Also, my bad. We play Sunday as our next game, not Saturday. So we have 3 days in a row off.
Cool. Yeah. So that's even better for him. Like that'll help. And I'm sure he will probably try to give it a go as long as it's pretty fresh. But again, if there's even a minor tweaking feeling, I say don't even worry about it. Like don't play. Like it's so early in the season. You can't afford to really hurt yourself and get out for the next 4 to 6+ weeks. Like you just don't want that to sort of derail your season. So hopefully he is smart about that too. But I did want to talk about too with the Cavs before we move on. It really seemed like, especially at the beginning of the game. Now I didn't really watch a lot of the second half, but it did seem like early on they really got caught up in trying to match Boston with their ISO ball, and that is a trap that I do not want the Cavs to get themselves in because they are at their best when they are letting that ball freely move like a hot, potato. Like the way that they can pass the ball and really create shots and drives for themselves with the way they move it. The Cavs need to not feed into that. What did you see from them last night in that regard? Because I feel like when they get into that type of play, it gets back to what they did last year and where it was a lot of slow, almost LeBron ISO type ball that we were so used to. But the difference is LeBron would create some sort of offense out of anything because he was LeBron. Yeah. Donovan is good, but he's not LeBron good. And you can't always ask that of guys like Darius as well. So what do you make of that? Because I think the way that they pass the ball, it's such a key ingredient to this offense being as nasty as it has been.
Yeah, I think they tried too hard to match the Boston offense instead of just playing their own way, doing the thing that made them 15-0 in the first place. Which was ball move, quick, constant ball movement, getting up the court fast, creating a fast offense. Because we talked about this a couple weeks ago, where the Cavs were scoring, or when the Cavs inbounded the ball, they would sprint down the court and score within 12 to 13 seconds. Last night, they spent almost the entire shot clock creating an offense. And like you said, it was a slow ISO ball, trying to match Tatum 3 for 3 or match Pritchard 3 for 3 or whatever, trying to match shooting wise these guys instead of utilizing, again, the guys in the paint, Mobley and Allen, and letting them create their mismatches and getting easy buckets. They strayed away from that. But again, in the second half, when they started coming back, that's what they started doing more they started playing their brand of basketball again, saying we need to get Mobley more involved and let him work the ball and let him create these mismatches. Because when he had mismatch against, Kobe White or Tatum or, Derek White, not Kobe White, Derek White, Kobe White's in Chicago.
Yep. Good job.
Yeah, I made a mistake and I fixed it. And then like Jaylen Brown and stuff, he would get easy buckets because it was a big mismatch. But yeah, that first half, it was they're trying to, because I think what Boston did so well is that they were scoring early and often, and they were. I mean, to be fair to Boston, they hardly missed a shot last night.
Yeah.
Everything they were putting up, they were making.
Oh yeah, they shot like 55%
From three.
From three. Like it was a good shooting night by them for sure.
So what you do in those regards is, again, you just stick to your own brand of basketball, which is dominating the paint. And then if there is an open three, then yeah, you kick it out to that open three. But I saw a lot of forced shots, a lot of Mitchell trying too hard to create.
Yep.
And it didn't work out. But again, it's one of those things where, like tonight, we're probably going to see a completely different story.
Yep.
Where it's going to be them playing that same basketball that got them to 15-0 in the first place. And, Cavs will probably score 130 tonight again. But, I mean, I think they're trying something different against Boston to see if it would work. And I think they realized, like, okay, it didn't work.
Yeah.
So let's not do that ever again.
Right.
And like you said, you're missing 4 key people. You're missing Struss, LeVert, Okoro, and you're missing Dean Wade.
Yeah.
What was so important about those 4 too? All 4 of them are great defensively too.
Yeah.
And they probably would have stopped a lot of those shots. Because again, Mitchell's not superb on defense. Garland's not superb on defense, really. You only had really 2 good defenders out there, and that was Mobley now.
Yeah.
So again, it was hard to stop shots without your shot stoppers. So I think, again, once you get the rotation back, once you start getting those guys back, that defense comes alive. And I think you see a totally different Cavs team.
Yeah.
And plus, too, those are your bench points, too.
Yep.
A lot of those guys are all your bench points. I mean, shout out to Craig Porter. He balled out yesterday, too. I mean, he played a phenomenal game. Craig Porter, I think, didn't he have like 20 points yesterday?
I can look real quick.
He had something. I have the box score. He had 15.
Okay. So yeah, I mean that's still pretty good. I mean, I know he was a little bit of a mismatch on defense for us.
Yeah.
But he was able to at least provide a spark off the bench, and that's fine. You don't really need your bench guys to be playing the most amazing defense. It's really like, hey, if you can throw up literally more than 5 or 6 points each off your bench, you're doing something. And obviously there's going to be guys that, that score more. But when you're a guy that doesn't get to run it as much, to be able to provide any sort of spark is good. So, again, it's not like I'm worried at all about the Cavs, having to lose. And I'm honestly kind of glad we did, just because it takes the pressure off of them and they can just get back to just winning, play basketball however way they can. It was a 15-game win streak. I mean, that was a franchise record for us. And it was like tied for like the 3rd or 4th most in the, history of the league. So again, it was a great run. The Cavs have a long season ahead of them, so they have plenty of time. And guess what? They still have things to get better on. Like, and that's what Kenny said last night. He was like, hey, we still have things to get, obviously better on. I have to get things, better. But like, that's what you want to hear out of a coach and out of a team that, that's played as well as they have. They're still the best team in the league. And I think when it comes down to playoff time, I don't care who Boston has on the other side. I don't care if they have, Porzingis or whoever back in that lineup. It doesn't matter, because as long as we're healthy, this Cavs team is going to be disgusting to play up against, and good luck outscoring us in every game possible, even in the playoffs, because it's not going to be easy for teams if we can continue to play well. So just really excited to see what else they do, but I'm honestly glad that the pressure is off them. So again, they have a pretty easier game, obviously off a back-to-back tonight. So we will see how that game develops. They're going to start the rookie at the 3 tonight. So we'll see what he likes to bring. I'm really excited to see what he can bring to the team tonight. And if he produces anything, I think he gives himself at least a chance to be a part of the lineup for a little bit while
Yeah.
Struess is out and while some other guys are out. So he's going to get his chance, and I think it'll be good for him. But I do want to kind of make the switch over now to the more depressing side of things, and really more of the main part of this podcast, as always, is the Browns. And you and I were live during the game on Sunday. Shout out to anybody that will watch this and tuned into that live stream. We do appreciate it. We've been starting to live stream a little bit more, so on YouTube and on Twitch as well. We've been having a lot of fun on that. I know we're gonna try to get X involved. We'll see if that works or not. But either way, we were live during the game, and honestly, it was a pretty solid game up until that last 12 minutes of fourth quarter. Um, Obviously Taysom Hill had an incredible game. I'm not going to take anything away from him at all on that. He had an absolute insane game. I think it was like 168 yards of total like offense. He had that big 75 yard run at the end, which I kind of thought was a dick move for him to not step out of bounds and just ice the game. But
Yeah.
I guess when you're not used to getting a bag, you might as well get it while you can. But it was 14-14 heading into that fourth quarter. And the Browns just the defense quite literally gave up. Like, we even said it in the stream, but it was unbelievable to watch how insanely different the team started to look throughout the game. And it's always the same guys now. Like, it's the same few guys that you're seeing on defense. Man, what the hell is going on? Like, what is your thoughts even right now in terms of this team? Because dude, seeing those guys give up was that makes fans rub off on you the wrong way now. Like now fans are really gonna Thursday night's gonna be a rough game for them. I'm gonna put it lightly.
Yeah, I think Thursday you're going to hear a lot of boos more than cheers.
Yeah.
And
I honestly don't think there's going to be a lot of. I bet you there's going to be more Steelers fans tomorrow.
I was just about to make that claim. I think there might be more
tickets
Steelers
are
fans.
probably going cheap.
I just saw them for like $30.
Yeah, so, like dog pound seats are going for cheap even. So it's going to be rough.
It's going to be a very rough game. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get the purpose of quitting. Like, I get it. The thing is, we're not asking you to make the playoffs at this point, but we're asking you just to try to win a football game.
Yeah, pride.
Like, yeah, it's just about pride now. Like, I get it. You're fucking 2-8, but have some sense of pride. Go out and win a fucking ball. Do what you're supposed to do, what you're paid to do. Like, they pay you to win football games, not to be like, well, I give up. You're tied in the fourth quarter, you're tied 14-14. Don't you want to go out there and win? Like, why the hell are you giving up? And I don't know if it's a lack of enthusiasm in the locker room from the coaching staff. I don't know if that's not helping them at all. I'm wondering if this whole Deshaun thing just kind of deflated the entire roster, and they're just at this point saying, okay, we're done. Wait until next year. Because this was the same team that went to 11-6 and went to a playoff last year
with 5 different starting quarterbacks, mind you.
Yeah, and I think the difference is that the swagger's gone.
It's gone, period.
There was some sense of swagger, and it made the boys play a lot better. And it gave them some sense of pride, and that's somehow disappearing. Again, I wonder if it's the whole Deshaun situation.
I don't know, because I haven't really felt it all year long. Like, I think the Dallas game was like the first, like, and, obviously Dallas is what they are now. Like, they haven't won a single game at home. That's how bad Dallas is.
Yeah.
And they beat the shit out of us at our home turf. We are not a good football team.
No.
And I don't know. I don't know, man. Do you think Stefanski has lost the room?
It's tough because I don't know if it's Stefanski. I don't know if it's Dorsey. I don't know who it is. I think the guys respect Stefanski,
Yeah.
but it could also be one of those things where they may not believe in him anymore.
Yeah.
And they're maybe wanting a change. Because again, it's one of those things we talked about. There's no sense of blowing shit up right now or blowing anything up right now, like roster wise.
Yeah.
I think the people you have are good enough. Again, with some tweaks here and there.
Right.
But do you make Mike Vrabel the head coach and maybe that changes and maybe gets that swagger back a little bit? And do you keep guys like Jim Schwartz? Do you keep some of these other coaches in here? Because there's a lot of coaches that need to go for sure.
And there's some that have been here for a long time that are overdue, like O'Shea, Kelly.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
There are quite a few coaches that have been here for a while, haven't made much of an impact. I think Tarver is still the linebacker coach. I mean, the linebackers have regressed every year for the past 3 years, besides JOK, and that's because JOK is who he is, and there's talk of him potentially not playing ever again because of this neck,
he jammed it bad.
And Stefanski says he's doing all right, so we'll see what happens in 2 weeks. But I mean, if they lose another 2 games, what's the point of even having to bring him back? Like, let him heal. Like, what the fuck is the point of playing any of your big time guys if you were gonna literally win 2 or 3 games this season? I even said it during the live stream too. I don't know if you recall me fucking saying this. But when we started to crumble there in the fourth quarter, I said, I almost wonder if somebody called down from the front office or like the box and be like, hey, we're playing way too good. We really need a top 5 pick, and you guys start fucking up here, because it just felt like a switch. Went from 14-14. Jameis threw for 400 yards and 2 touchdowns, and they only could score 14 points. And
something happened.
And they didn't want to consistently go with Chubb. And every drive that we scored on, Chubb was the first guy that we started with. Like, it makes no sense. And if we lose, somebody is getting fired. And I just really hope it's not Stefanski, because like I said, I like Stefanski as our head coach.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the problem. I think with the Watson shit, he is the guy that's going to get scapegoated. But he wasn't the one that sold this team
for Watson
and these guys on Watson. It was fucking Andrew Berry. And everybody that tells me that, I'm like, man, Andrew has a hot seat to sit on right now. It's bad.
See, but Kevin Stefanski should not be on the hot seat like people think he is.
No.
I don't think, like, the people on the hot seats are, again, your Dorsey, your Ken Dorsey, your...
Even Schwartz should be on the hot seat over him more.
Yeah, after having the number 1 defense last year, and somehow you can't defend shit.
Yeah.
But like you said, Andrew Berry's seat is flaming right now.
Yeah.
Because you fucked up on a lot of draft picks. Granted, I know you didn't have a number 1, but you also gave your number 1s away for Deshaun Watson. Yeah. And now that's coming to bite you in the ass. DeBatista is probably one of the other guys who said, let's go and get Watson because of these stats. So his ass should be gone. Like, there's going to be some clearing. If we don't win on Thursday, there's going to be some clearance in the front office, for sure.
And you know it's going to be led by Haslam. Because from what I'm hearing, the vibe from Haslam the last month or so has not been pretty.
Yeah, he has not been a happy camper.
As he should. You are paying for the most expensive team in the league right now.
And you can't win a fucking football game.
Yeah, you are 2-8. Somebody is going to get some sort of punishment. And I'm telling you what.
I think it starts with Barry.
It has to. But the only thing that sucks about this is most of the time when shit like this happens,
it's the head coach that goes first.
It ends up being the head coach. And it's just like with the Jets. What the Jets have done, they literally got rid of Salah, and guess what? They haven't done much. They won 1 game on Thursday night, or was it a Monday night?
Well, they just fired
one or the other.
They just
fired their GM,
like
who's
2 days
done
ago.
A good job.
Yeah,
look at his draft picks.
I wouldn't mind having him in the Browns. I wouldn't mind having him here in
Cleveland.
Love it. Yeah, because at least he can hit on draft picks.
Yeah, if he can hit on draft picks, then fine. He took a chance for A-Rod probably because ownership told him to.
Yeah.
And then he did it, and then they got fucked because why give up that much and move the moon and the stars for a 42-year-old quarterback?
Yeah.
It's you got to have some logic there. So he ends up being the scapegoat. So again, the Jets are a dumpster fire too. The Cowboys are.
Well, again, like
New
you said,
York is like we're not the only bad team here, but the Browns are at a rough spot. Not as rough as some of these other teams.
Well, like you said, the first guy for the Jets that was gone was Robert Saleh.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the GM that immediately went first. It was the head coach. Then they fired the GM, which it should be the opposite. It should be switched. You should fire the GM first before the head coach. Because a lot of times it's not the head coaches that's at fault. Because they're being dealt with what you give them.
Yeah.
It's like, listen, you're giving me dog shit. What do you want me to do with this?
Yeah.
I'm doing the best that I can with this.
Well, and especially when you get GMs that are very heavy involved in the player personnel for games as well.
Yeah.
Like when we had that with Dorsey and when we had that with Kitchens.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with those two egos, like, listen, I'm sure AB is a fantastic guy and he's going to be a smart guy and he's going to be a part of the league for a while. But for this role with us right now, it's time to end it. And I'm just hoping that Stefanski isn't the one that gets the scapegoat because I just don't think he deserves it. I think Watson deserves it. I think ABB deserves it. Podesta deserves it. And honestly, fuck Haslam. He deserves it too, no matter what you say. Everything always goes back to Haslam anyway.
Well, this goes back to what we said, like, was it last week, a couple weeks ago? Owners need to stop trying to get themselves involved and let the GMs and the front office handle the business. You bought the team. Your job is to sit there in your box suite and enjoy the ride. Sign checks and hand over money. Other than that, don't get involved with draft picks. Don't get involved with who to sign. Don't get involved with that shit. That's not your duty.
But
that's your GM's duty.
Right. But I will say, for Haslam's sake, he did spend money and it still didn't work. So at this point, you do have to step in some way. But to your point, the guys like the Jerry Joneses and just the guys that are too involved when they don't know football, they just know I have a team that's struggling. Fans are pissed. That's all I hear because I'm having to listen to the radio.
Who's a perfect owner?
Owners are all listening to all of this, and that's what they're going to get.
The perfect owner? Art Rooney from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Enjoys the games, he bought the team, enjoys the games, doesn't get his hands dipped into what the GM and the owner, everyone does.
Yeah.
And he sits there and enjoys so long. Yeah. He enjoys the ride. He lets the GM handle everything. I forget the GM's name. But he sits there and enjoys the ride. He lets Tomlin do everything. It's Omar Khan. That's who it is.
Yeah.
But he lets Omar Khan do his thing, gets these draft picks, gets these players, and he enjoys the ride. Rooney sits back. Listen, you want to sign a player? Just let me know. I'll sign the check.
Yeah,
and that's what he does. He doesn't get involved. He doesn't get involved with the draft. He doesn't get involved with what Tom was doing. He sits back and just chills. And that's what all owners should be doing.
Yeah, and I just thought of this because I heard this. I don't know if it was today or yesterday off of the Fan, but they were kind of starting to make comparisons. And this is why I think if we do lose, regardless, I think Stefanski gets the can just because of the fact. But you got to think about this AFC North and the coaches that are in the AFC North. You have two teams that are always up at the top, and that's Pittsburgh and Baltimore.
Yep.
And look at their coaches. They've both been in this league for a very long time, and they haven't found a way out because they are always the lowest of the low for Tomlin is an 8-8 season. The lowest of the low for John Harbaugh is 6-10. Stefanski is about to go 2 and fucking 14 or whatever it is. he's only going to have a 2 or 3 win season this year, probably, unless they turn it on. But even then, what the fuck is the point of doing that if you're going to get a top 5 pick?
Yeah.
It makes no sense at that point. But if that's your lowest, and Stefanski has had a few 8 and 9 seasons as well. Yes, he's had some winning seasons, but he hasn't remained consistent. That does make the argument for, okay, Stefanski is a good head coach, but if there is someone better, and if they do, and this is where I'm going to move with this, if they do like Vrabel that much, you have to worry about that, because Vrabel it's going to be a hot commodity all throughout the league. There's going to be positions, open. The Raiders,
even in college.
Yeah, and even college. If Day fucks up and they decide to move on from Day, it's either going to be a Chip Kelly or Mike Vrabel, and Mike Vrabel would make way more sense from a culture standpoint for Ohio State. But that's the thing. Like, guys love Vrabel. Like the players love Vrabel. Like when he was canned last year, everybody's like, "What the fuck?" I mean, like, I know they had a rough season, but he was dealt one of the worst rosters in the league.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, no shit, they couldn't win more than 5 games with a rookie quarterback that puts mayonnaise in his fucking coffee. Like,
well, the thing is, too, Tennessee's record through the Mike Vrabel years was always, again, like Mike Tomlin, always 500 or above. Would always almost make the postseason every year. But then he got dealt the worst hand possible, and then that's when he got fired. And it's like, it wasn't even his fault. And like you said, I think Jimmy Haslam likes Vrabel a whole lot. That I think there could be whispers to Stefanski, like, listen, if you don't win this game on Thursday, Vrabel's taking your job.
Because it's not going to be just a interim coach. No, they're going to try to lock him down, because if they really do like him, they're going to commit to him. There's no way they don't.
And that's what I mean. It's no interim. I mean, it'll probably have to be interim for the rest of the year before they lock him down, but they're going to lock him down.
Yeah.
So there's probably whispers saying, listen, dude, if you don't win Thursday, you're cut, dude. You're done. You've had, what's it now, 5 years?
Yeah.
You're done, dude. 1 playoff win in 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, you've been to the playoffs twice.
Yeah.
And that's more than we have been since we came back.
Right. I mean, yeah. But I think that's why people like us are scared of having to move on from Stefanski, because we're so worried that we're going to get it wrong again, and then we're going to be back 10 years, go through 3 head coaches. But if there is better out there, and you think that it's holding you back, you do got to make a decision. And so, if the Browns decide to go with a Vrabel, or if they somehow decide to somehow sway that Detroit Lions OC or somebody around that type of level, then it makes a valid argument, and I can't blame them for it, because Stefanski's overall output has been more losing than it has been winning. It's been more winning than we have had as Browns fans since '99, but it isn't going to get it done in an AFC North that is getting competitive. The Bengals are 4-7, but they have a dynamite team, and if they're just coached well, they are instantly a better team. Zach Taylor sucks, and we knew that. I mean, we kept calling that. I'm surprised Zach Taylor has lasted this long, but the players are clearly, over him. You're hearing Jamar Chase and, I don't know, ask Stack or whatever. Like, it's, that's crumbling within them. But as soon as they find a good head coach to now back up those players, even if they lose T. Higgins, it's not going to matter. They're still going to have Jamar Chase, and they're still going to have Joe Burrow. And that offense is still going to do enough. Like, if the Bengals weren't as bad this year, dude, fucking Burrow would be in the MVP top conversation, not always over here, because you got Josh Allen playing well. You got, obviously Lamar's having another fantastic year. But, like, Joe Burrow has 4 picks this year with 27 touchdowns. That is a good fucking year for a quarterback. And we all thought that he was not going to do that. We thought the risk was going to play a huge factor, and it hasn't. He's balled out, and yet they're still 4-7 or 4-8 now. They can't really close out games. Their defense is awful. They have problems too, but they're still in a better spot than we are. And the AFC North is going to continue to stay competitive. So I don't blame the Browns for if they choose to get rid of Stefanski. I get it. I just don't necessarily think that is the true answer that's going to get us above that hump.
Yeah.
But if you do keep Stefanski, you have got to give him the full control. You have to give him his guy. You have to give him his playbook.
Yeah.
And you have to have him literally build the exact roster that he wants, because I think this is all AB. I think Schwartz is AB. I think Dorsey is AB. All of these guys, I think, are AB moves, and Stefanski has just kind of had to sign off on it. Yeah. And I just don't think he's wanted to, but he didn't have a choice. And that's why I feel bad for him in this point.
Well, and the thing is, once AVP got fired, we all knew it was Andrew Berry making that decision.
Yeah. And because it didn't need to really happen. No. Everything was fine.
Yeah, the offense was great. Why did you need to change it? But I was looking at Mike Vrabel's head coaching record. His head coaching record is 54-45. He's also got a postseason record of 2-3.
Yeah.
And he coached Tennessee from 2018 to 2023. Here's the records through those years for Mike Vrabel. 2018, Titans went 9-7. 2019, 9-7.
Yeah.
2020, 11-5. 2021, 12-5.
Yeah.
22, 7-10. 23, 6-11. Canned.
Yeah.
And those 22 and 23 were when that's when they started dumping all their good players and trading away their best, the QBs, and they traded away all their good players. And they tanked in the draft and stuff. That's when they started firing other coaches in the front office and stuff like that, and everything was starting to change.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, Vrabel was God for Tennessee.
And Stefanski is, I'm literally staring at his, current head coaching record. He's 39-38, 1-2 in the postseason. Career is 40-40 because he probably helped with the Vikings. But he's kind of just average. And that has kind of been sort of the theme with the Browns. So he got us to this level. Who's to say we can't find somebody that can get us above the level that we've been at?
I think that's why they got Mike. I think that's why they got Mike Vrabel, because they think that he could be that guy that kind of bumps them up to that next level.
And again, if you really do like Vrabel and you are Haslam, I'm not going to be surprised if he gets gung-ho and says, fuck you, and fuck you. This is my guy. I'm picking my guy. And I don't blame him, but unfortunately, Haslam doesn't have a great track record in picking good head coaches. So we will see how it pans out. All I know is if Thursday night goes bad, Friday is going to go even worse.
Friday's a fire sale.
Twitter is going to be a nasty place. And I'm not even going to, I'm not really going to get caught up in the Steelers fans part of it, because the Steelers fans, they're going
to be doing shit anyway.
The Steelers are going to win. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm not even going to pick the Browns to win. I don't see it happening. Now, do I think the Browns could have it a little closer? Yeah, I could, but it could end up also sort of the same route that it was with the Saints. But the Steelers are the clear better team and one of the best teams really in the AFC, period, because they've been one of the more consistent teams this year. So, I can't talk shit to them because there's nothing for us to talk shit about. You guys are going to sweep the series, which I didn't think was going to happen at the beginning of the year. But I also didn't think we were going to be 2-8 this season. I thought we were going to be in a much better spot. But we're wrong, and that happens. But regardless, if we lose, and we're probably going to, Friday is going to be a rough game.
Yep.
And it's going to be a rough day for us. And yeah, as you said, it could very well be a fire sale. I just wonder who's the first domino to fall. and how many of them do fall, because you still got to think about the players in the locker room. Like,
And that's why I don't think Stefanski would be like the first to go, because I think the players still, again, they still respect and like Stefanski.
yeah,
I think the first domino that has to fall is either Ken Dorsey or Andrew Barry. I think those are the first two dominoes that have to fall.
mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the season, if you still want to get rid of Stefanski, okay, whatever. If you want to
But
get
then at
rid
that
of Jim
point, it's the
Schwartz,
whole staff
yeah,
gets cleaned out anyway.
yeah, because then at that point, the rest of the staff gets cleaned out. So, and then you start over with Vrabel and you let him pick his guys, and who he wants. And to be honest, I don't think Vrabel. I mean, he might have a D coordinator, but I feel like he's going to be the one calling the defensive plays.
Yeah.
Because
oh yeah, absolutely.
Because isn't that what he did with Tennessee? Was called defensive plays.
I think so. And the thing that was kind of a little bit funny about it too is, Schwartz was a part of his staff there before he came to Cleveland.
Yeah.
So if Schwartz somehow survives that, I do wonder if he tries to keep him along with that staff. We will see.
I think it's because they might have worked well together, and they probably want to keep that.
Right.
So, I mean, if Vrabel's okay with Schwartz, then I trust Vrabel in that regard.
Yeah.
Because again, Schwartz showed out last year.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened this year. I don't know if it's because of the offense being atrocious and that he had to adjust so much that the players sucked at adjusting too.
Yeah.
And I mean, we saw Newsome. Obviously, he's been atrocious. Like, the only one who's been really good about it is Denzel.
Yeah.
And I get it. He had that one bad game a couple weeks ago where him and Thornhill didn't communicate a lot against the Chargers. But
even then, like
how much of that was
really plays? Yeah.
Well, the thing is, how much of that was on Denzel, and how much of that was on Juan Thornhill?
Yeah.
Because Denzel,
Thornhill has been an issue all year long.
Well, because the thing is, I think it's more Thornhill than Denzel, because Denzel was like looking at him like, bro, you're supposed to be over here and covering. Like, where were you?
Yeah.
When I get burnt like that, you're supposed to be behind me, and you were behind me.
Yeah, exactly.
So I feel like Denzel got scapegoated for those, even though they weren't his fault.
Yeah.
Because I think he did what he was supposed to do, but Juan Thornhill is going to be definitely gone after this year for sure. But
yes. I mean, I think he's a post-June first cut, because I think a lot of his guarantees are gone now anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really going to matter. But yeah, he's definitely going to be a guy that's either going to be on trade block or released. It's going to just be if they have any trade bait at all, because I think the Browns are going to try to trade as many players as they can before they start releasing people. But yeah, it's going to make this offseason a lot fucking more fun for us, in not a great way. But it'll be a chance for sort of a new wave of players and a new wave of this team, for us to to see, because we've had the same group for the last 4 or 5 years now. It does sound like there's just needs to be some sort of change. Now, it doesn't mean you change a lot of your core guys. No, like if you can keep Garrett, Chief is a part of this. Ward is part of this. If you can keep Chubb, absolutely. This young, core of receivers, there's still a good bit of life left, but the O-line is going to need reworked. The defensive line is probably going to need a little reworked. There's going to be some definitely different faces, but not all hope is lost. It's just this year sucks, and the draft is going to be a chance to really revive. And if we have a different guy at GM, it can be a real big boost for us. And I think if he gets aggressive, because that's another thing I really hate about Barry. He is not aggressive like Dorsey was. Like, he is not an aggressive guy at all. The only aggressive move he made was Watson, and I think after that he has been very conservative, either because he's been told to or because he's so afraid to fuck up again that he doesn't want to do anything at all. And it makes trade deadline, it makes free agency, all that really just for us when we have the chance and ability to make some decent splashes, and we just don't. And I think that's why that's where he's really, really failed, along with the fact that he just hasn't picked well. So we'll see how Thursday night goes. Honestly, the only good thing, I guess, that's going to be in our favor somewhat is going to be the weather. It's going to be a little nasty, a little bit ugly. It's going to be cold, but this is AFC North football, and both of these teams play in the AFC North, so we're used to it. We know what this weather is like, so
Yeah.
it's not like it's necessarily an advantage. The only thing that really is an advantage is the wind up there, because Pittsburgh has wind, but it ain't like our wind.
No,
That wind off the lake is something that is
it's
like almost a
disgusting.
home field advantage for us, but also isn't, because with how bad D Hop played last week as well. Like, God, can you even trust him to make a kick?
Nope.
So there's going to be a lot of things for us to, have to deal with. But I'm just really hoping the Browns try to involve Chubb a little bit, because he's been really close to having a breakout game. He had a few runs last week, or on Sunday, that looked like he was one step away from breaking big plays.
Yeah,
So
and they
he's
cut him
getting
off.
there. He's getting there. So
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't really have anything else to say.
Nope.
I'm cool getting to the week 4 or the week 12 picks now.
Yeah,
So
let's do it. Let's get to
go ahead
those
and get
picks.
to it.
All right. Obviously, we have Thursday night football between the Browns and the Steelers, and I think we both went the same route here. I think we both went
we're going
Pittsburgh.
Steelers.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so that was quick and easy. Moving on to the next game, Kansas City Chiefs and the Carolina Panthers.
Kansas City wins this game, but I think the Panthers give them a run for their money, and I think it'll be a lot like the Broncos game for them a few weeks ago. But Kansas City should win this game.
Yeah,
and they should win it by more than a touchdown. But the Panthers have been getting some life, so I do expect them to give them some trouble.
Yeah, for sure. I went with Kansas City just because it's Carolina, and Carolina has been playing a little bit better, but it should be Kansas City all day.
Yeah.
Minnesota and Chicago.
Minnesota. I know Chicago's defense is pretty decent, but that offense is in such a woe that I just don't know where they're gonna go. I know they got rid of their OC. I don't know if it's really helped them yet, but I just don't trust them right now. So yeah, Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, I went with the Vikings too, because after they fired their offensive coordinator, that offense last week didn't look great against Green Bay, but Green Bay didn't look the best either.
Yeah.
And that made that game a little too close than what it should have been.
Yeah.
So I don't think Chicago is going to survive a better defense than Green Bay and Minnesota. Yeah. Tennessee and Houston.
Houston's going to win this game. Should win it pretty handily. I don't really see the Titans giving them too much trouble. Stroud hasn't looked amazing, but Joe Mixon has looked incredible. Yeah. I think they're just going to continue to ride the coattails of him, and hopefully Stroud will throw one or two, because Nico broke one, but he got it called back. Otherwise, I would have hit on my bet last week. But either way, Houston all day.
I went with Houston too, just for the fact that Tennessee's on par with the Cleveland Browns. They're just the absolute worst team in the fucking league, and it should just be easy for Houston, especially with the way Joe Mixon's been playing.
Yeah.
All right, Detroit and Indianapolis.
Until somebody cannot let Detroit score 50 points, Detroit is always going to be my favorite. Like, listen, I know the Colts played a lot better last week. They won that game, but this is a different team. Like, Detroit is just that team right now. They're the hottest team in the league. They're one of the scariest teams in the league. I don't see a lot of teams beating them this year. I really don't.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm right there 1,000% with you. Until someone stops Detroit from scoring 50 odd points, what's even the purpose? I mean, I already have Detroit as my favorite to win the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm gonna keep having them winning, because at this rate, nobody's fucking stopping them.
No.
So yeah, I went with Detroit. All right, New England and Miami.
I'm going Miami here. I think Tua is starting to give them a little more life. I can't remember if they squeaked that game out against the Cardinals or not, but I know, or no, they played the Raiders last week, so never mind. They won that game.
They won 34-19.
Yeah. I mean, and New England isn't too much better than the Raiders. I think New England will give them a little bit better of a fight, but the
Yeah.
Dolphins defense is playing better. Like Jalen Ramsey's getting back to his old self. And obviously when you play a rookie like that, you should be able to get to him. So as long as Tua doesn't get concussed again, I think they should win this game and be fine. A Chain has been a fucking dog for them as well. So
Yeah.
Miami should win this game pretty convincingly too.
I went with Miami too, just because they're at home. Um, Tua's been looking better since his injury. They're starting to slowly get Tyreek back to where he was.
Yep,
I think that's been a big boost. Is that for some reason they made Tyreek look irrelevant, but now that they're getting him the ball at any possible chance they can now again, and they're starting to get back to the old Miami offense that used to dominate. So I definitely like Miami in this one. Tampa Bay and the Giants.
with the whole thing going on with the Giants right now, I'm gonna take Tampa Bay,
Yeah,
but considering all of Tampa's injuries, I'm not gonna be surprised if DeVito makes this game interesting.
yeah.
I really think they're gonna make it somewhat intriguing. Um, but I mean, I gotta back my boy Baker.
Yeah, I went with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because again, I had to back Baker, and there's been rumors too and news about Mike Evans potentially could be playing in this game because they said he's been getting some work in all week, and uh, on the injury reports he's been limited at practice, so he's been practicing, he's been doing some work. It may not be this week; it could be potentially next week that Evans gets in this game, but if he does, that's definitely a big boost to the offense because now
Absolutely.
it's not just Kate Otten anymore.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I still think it's Kate Otten. I still think Baker does enough because again, in each game, even without Godwin or Evans, they still been performing every game.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're out of it at all. But like you said, I think Tommy DeVito comes in and makes it interesting, even though Drew Lock was pissed off that he wasn't the one starting.
Yeah.
And he was promised to be the number 2 when he got signed,
Right.
and they just fucked him over. But no, I think DeVito makes it an interesting game, but Tampa Bay should be able to win this game with ease.
Yeah.
All right, Cowboys and Washington Commanders.
If there's a team that's going to win pretty easily, it should be Washington here. I know Dallas played a little bit better this past Monday, but
they are in Washington, by the way.
They are in Washington, and Washington has looked incredible. Anytime they're at their home, it's really hard for me to not say Washington's going to win this game. So,
no, I agreed. I went with Washington as well. Again, they're at home. Jaden Daniels has looked good all year. I think he's going to be Rookie of the Year. He just had one bad game last week, and even then, it wasn't really much of a bad game either against the Eagles. It's just the Eagles were just killing that defense, and Jaden Daniels was doing everything he can to get the team scoring, and he did. Just wasn't enough. Right. So like you said, Dallas will continue to pretty much just get blown out every game for the foreseeable future until they do something about Mike McCarthy and everyone else.
Tank for Sanders.
Take for Sanders and make Dion the head coach.
Yep.
Which will make him even worse. But
yeah,
Denver and Vegas.
Denver. I mean,
yeah, it's pretty easy.
I mean, the Raiders are a pretty bad team right now. They really are.
Yeah, I went with Denver. Bo Nix again, another guy who could be contender for Rookie of the Year with Jaden Daniels. I mean, he's phenomenal.
I think he's the front runner right now. To be honest with you,
you think so?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jaden Daniels. Obviously, he's had a great season, but Bo Nix has really started to turn it on. Like it was, especially over the last month or so. Bo Nix is really throwing some good numbers.
Yeah, for sure. Again, I went with Denver just because it's the Raiders. So, unless Brock Bowers has 200 yards receiving in this game, then something can change. But I don't see that happening. Right. San Francisco and Green Bay.
San Fran. I mean, obviously Green Bay is a pretty solid team this year. But San Fran's defense is really, really good still. And since they have CMC back, I just think they're going to try to continue to get him more and more involved. And if Debo can have a better game, I mean, they still have enough guys on that team to really play well. And honestly, what's really going under the radar is Brock Purdy's playing outstanding this year. Like he
Absolutely.
has not had a lot of bad games. So San Fran has just been playing clean ball. They haven't been winning as much as they did last year, but I don't think they need to in that division. But yeah, I think San Fran all day.
Yeah, I took San Fran too. Again, same reasons. I think Brock Purdy has looked really good, even though it's been under the radar. Um, Again, San Francisco's been dealing with a lot of injuries like Tampa Bay as well on the offensive side of things. But I mean, when your quarterback is playing really well, it doesn't really matter because when your quarterback plays well, then everyone plays well too on that
Yeah.
offense. And so, and like we said last week, guys like Purcell and others have looked really good too. So I don't think it really matters for them. And again, their defense is pretty freaking good. They're really good defensively, and it's going to be a very close game because it's in
Yeah.
Green Bay.
Yeah.
So it's going to be pretty cold, but it shouldn't stop Brock Purdy.
And it definitely shouldn't stop CMC if he's
No.
like actually getting a little better now. So
Yeah, for sure. And they can run the ball a lot too.
yeah.
Arizona and Seattle.
So I have not been taking Arizona a lot lately, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm ready to take them.
Okay.
They've been the best team in their division, and the Cardinals have looked pretty solid. I know Seattle has been pretty good this year, but they've been a little inconsistent. Kyler's playing some really good ball right now, but like Kyler is playing some damn good ball. I don't know. The Cardinals just look great, so I'm going with Cards.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. Right now, they're first in the NFC West.
Yeah.
They are a game above the Rams, and this. I mean, they're a game above everyone because everyone else is 5-5 in that division. But yeah, Arizona's looking mighty solid, and to be honest, I went with the Cardinals as well, just because, like I said, I wasn't sold on them for a while.
Yeah.
But now I'm ready to be, because for some reason they have been sneaky good. And again, they're the team that's just like flying under the radar, and people are like, "Wait, they're in first place." Like I thought they were
Yeah.
like, I thought they
I
were
was the
like,
same way.
yeah, they're like, "Well, I never realized they were in first place," and everyone else was like 5-5. But that whole division's kind of
Mid
in a way, but a good kind of mid.
Mm-hmm.
So I like Arizona. I just think Kyler Murray has looked better. I think that helps when you have Marvin Harrison Jr. as a wide receiver now, and
Yeah.
I think you have a Larry Fitzgerald replacement at this point. Finally,
And they do have a pretty solid run game. Like
they have a great. James Conner is really good,
and that Trey Benson is getting more
and
carries
Trey
as
Benson,
well.
yeah, for sure.
So yeah, he's finally starting to come on. I really thought he was going to be a lot more involved early, but they're finally getting him involved. So
I think
that's a good sign as well.
I think that's the one miss that Pittsburgh has had in years, was giving up on James Conner too early.
Yeah, they did.
And getting Najee Harris, which Najee Harris is fine, but James Conner is a lot better.
Just a lot more consistent, I think he was. Yeah.
All right, the Sunday night football game, Eagles and Rams.
I mean, I'm going Eagles here. The Rams are playing better ball this year. Like their defense is playing a lot better, and obviously they have Puka back, they have Cooper back, so they're gonna make it interesting. That this is not gonna be any sort of blowout or anything. And honestly, I won't even be surprised if Matt Stafford does it. I just think the Eagles are gonna play a little bit better, and fucking Saquon is he's playing out of his mind, and Jalen Hurts has been playing really solid as well the last month or so. And he's really helped my fantasy team. So we're going to keep riding him. So, yeah, I'm saying Eagles.
I went with the Eagles too, because almost solely because of Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Because Saquon Barkley,
tearing it up.
Yeah, he's single-handedly beating teams on his own.
Yeah.
And I think it allows Jalen Hurts to do the bare minimum, and that offense will still do whatever. So I like the Eagles here, and I think the Eagles are better defensively than the Rams.
Yeah.
So Eagles. I'm going with the Eagles here. And then the last game, Monday Night Football. Another Monday Night Football game for the Chargers. Ravens at Chargers.
You know, man, this is kind of a tough one because
The Chargers have looked good.
They've looked really good, and their defense is solid. Like it really is. The Ravens had a very rough game against the Steelers. I think they come out and they really try to establish the run game again. And if they can do that, Derrick Henry is still going to go off. And if that's the case, Ravens should win. So I'm going to pick Ravens.
Okay.
But the Chargers are going to make this interesting, and I'm 1,000% not going to be shocked if the Chargers beat them. And if they do, the Chargers are legit.
Yeah. Wow. We have picked the same game this entire week. We have the same exact picks for the first time.
Yeah.
Because I will Baltimore just for the sole fact that, again, my thinking was, and mind you guys, I make my choices before we even do this. So it's mostly just Zach, at this point, Zach making choices. And then I give my picks after Zach because I've already written down my picks because I'm the one with the spreadsheet. So I've already had my picks written down before the show. So I don't want you to think I'm cheating here and copying Zach's homework because I'm not. Although I'm getting my ass kicked by him, but I'm not cheating. I swear, I promise. I also have Baltimore because, again, the same thought process. I thought they're going to go strictly to Derrick Henry a lot in this game to establish the run. And I think they're starting to realize that the games that they get Derrick Henry more involved are the games that they win.
Yeah.
And the games they kind of ignore Derrick Henry and give him like 15 touches or whatever, then that's when they start getting their ass kicked. So I'm going with Baltimore here. And me and Zach have the exact same picks.
So you see me scratching my head right now because I'm staring at the box score right now for the Cavs game.
Yes.
Go look at what Ty Jerome is doing right now. I'm not even going to tell you yet. I'm just going to let you.
Don't tell me he's got like 30 or some shit.
Close.
Oh my god, he's at 21.
He has 7 threes. He has 7 threes.
He's at 27 now.
Yeah, he's gonna drop 40 at this rate. He has 7 fucking threes at halftime. Oh my god,
dude!
Ty Jerome.
Who is he?
Dude, he's the fucking GOAT. Apparently, I don't know. This dude is like Donovan's probably just like, hey, yo, this is your game, bro. You're good.
Darius take all the time. Darius take all the time you need, man.
Yeah,
Ty's got this.
I mean, fucking Craig Porter has 5 assists. George Nang has 6 points on 2 threes.
Jalen Tyson has almost 10 points.
Yeah, dude, Jalen Tyson's actually playing really well.
Look at Jalen Tyson.
He has 2 fouls. Though. That's his only thing is he's got 2 fouls.
But he's 4 for 4.
He's 4 for 4. Jared Allen's 3 for 3. Like, Cavs are just so fucking fun.
Ty Jerome is 7 for 10 for threes.
7 of 10 for 3. My goodness.
70% from 3. That's bonkers. He's at 30 points at halftime.
I mean, as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my god.
Well, I checked before we did the ranking or did our prediction. I was like, okay, it's like a close game. It's like a 5-point game.
Yeah.
Now it's like a 13-point game, but Ty Jerome has 27, dude.
At halftime. What is this?
Bro, he's just jacking it up. Like,
when is the Ty Jerome statue getting built?
Yeah, was it? So it's Ty Jerome getting a statue. Dude,
Oh my god.
I was watching this guy react to the Cavs versus I think it was like the last Cavs win, which was the Cavs and Charlotte.
Yeah.
And for some reason I was watching
just stepping back. He's literally driving, stepping back, jab, and just pulling up.
Yeah, this guy on YouTube, I was watching his reaction to the Cavs Hornets game, and he goes, so since when did Ty Jerome become another splash brother? Like, he's like, I get it. He was in Golden State, but was he like the third hidden splash brother? Like, did he just become Klay Thompson Jr.?
Right.
I was like, apparently, because he's got 27. He's almost got 30 at halftime, and he's jacking up 10 threes and hitting 7 of them. So
Yeah.
It sounds like he's another Splash Brother.
Yeah, it's insane that he used to be a part of the Warriors and now he's on our team with Kenny. And Kenny, I mean, that's the thing too about Kenny is he trusts him, so that's why he's
Yeah.
getting these minutes. But like, it's deserved because he's balling the fuck out for us all the time.
30 points at halftime.
Insane. So yeah, I mean, I guess we got to end the podcast on something fun.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'm honestly probably just gonna upload this for tomorrow, like before the game, instead of doing it on Friday.
Fair
And
enough.
just doing something different. So you guys will see it on Thursday night at 5:00 instead of Friday night at 5:00 because I want this to go up before the Browns game. So, anyways, with that said, Andrew, you got anything else before we log off for the night?
I don't, man. Go Cavs.
Go Cavs. Build Ty Jerome's statue in the middle of downtown Cleveland. I don't care. Let's go.
Right next to LeBron, baby.
Yes. We'll see you guys next time.